You're listening to the Casual Swinger Podcast. As your host, we need to warn you that the material you're about to hear may be sexual or explicit in nature. This podcast is intended for an adult audience. Now, we don't expect you to act like adults. What's the fun in that?
We're a married couple living in Florida with over 13 years of experience in the lifestyle, and we take almost nothing seriously. Casual Swinger is a variety show, meaning we'll cover everything from music to events, travel, and even the occasional hilarious screw-up. Our show is about entertainment. We're not licensed professionals.
At anything.
And our stories, commentary, and guidance should not be confused with the opinions of a licensed professional.
Now that you know, let's take those pants off and get comfy. Well, hello there. Did you miss us? This is an episode of Casual Swinger, and I'm your co-host, Mallory.
I am Mickey. I mean,
Wow.
last night. I mean, it's been a
Yeah.
while. It's been a while. And I feel like every fucking time we come back to this room, it's like it hasn't been touched. Like it's like something out of Indiana Jones. There's dust on everything.
Little bit. I know. We kind of suck at being home. That's literally our biggest issue right now. Blessed be our lives and our circumstances right now. But we have not been home more than 3 days at a clip, I believe, in months and months and months and months.
It's been almost 5
been-
months since we've been home more than three.
And I love you all and I have missed you so much, but also I needed clean underwear. Not that I wear it very often, but for plane travel, just in case of an emergency.
I thought you were just going to sell them.
That too, they do require to be worn.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah.
We have been all over the place. So you guys really haven't heard from us since before Casual Swinger Week, which was in
Ooh, buddy, with
April.
April. And let me tell you, life has been crazy and wonderful and stupendous and stupid all at the same time. Casual Swinger Week, I have no words.
It was crazy. It was nuts.
It was, people never cease to amaze me. Probably the best trip I've ever been on in my life. Left there with nothing. I left it all there with everyone.
God, we were
It was
tired.
incredible. It was literally, I will remember. That's core memory shit
Yeah.
for me. I will remember that as long as I live. And what's crazy is 2025, we have a takeover.
Yeah, so because we were so tired when we got home from Hedo, because we had left it all out there, we put everything out there in the
Legit.
universe we could. We decided to come home and increase the size of the trip by 200%.
Said, let's do it again.
So
And let's go bigger.
you heard it here, probably not first, because somebody
Yeah.
might have told you
Actually,
somewhere.
yeah, there's a couple really great recaps out there. And I'd love to do a recap with you guys. But I think Locke and Tristan did a fantastic job.
They did such a great job.
Yeah.
And I'm literally sitting there listening to them do a recap
Yeah.
of our week. And I'm like, well, we can't do better
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah, Jay and Andrew. So there's the Sweet Life podcast, which they go live on Sundays, but you can watch it in syndication on YouTube and at other places where you hear podcasts.
That makes them sound so official.
As well as Jay and Andrew, the average swingers.
Definitely not official, but no, those guys, by the way, I think they called their episode Ouch,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
if you haven't listened to Jay and Angie's episode, we lost like half of our host team
Yeah.
in the first day and a half of the week.
It was very interesting. It was an anomaly. I've never been on a trip where there were injuries, and injuries not induced just general happenstance.
Oh, it sucked.
It was a little bit of there was a little bit of a twisted horseshoe in there somewhere. Someone had an unlucky day.
I think it was karmic retribution. I don't know if it was for me or for Jay. I'm not sure.
I was going to say it's definitely not my karma. I'm a good person.
Yeah, but we had Jay
I
go
mean, I'm a
down
bad
with
girl,
a
but I'm a good
blown
person.
ACL,
Yeah.
which
He had a total replacement.
he had a
Yeah.
total replacement since then, and he's
Yeah.
back on his feet. He's doing well. I think
I heard he took
they're
up-
purgatory this week.
There, I heard he took up tap dancing
Yeah.
and pole vaulting now
Yeah.
that he's got the new knee.
Yeah, well, and every time he takes a step, he goes, no, 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 no.
No one knows what that is.
Oh, God, I'm old again. Damn.
Yeah. Congratulations. You just alienated the under 35 crowd. Let's do that.
Anyway, that's a $6 million man reference for any of you that, I mean, I saw it in syndication, okay? I
All
wasn't around when it was on TV, but whatever. I really wasn't.
Let me get
Like
your
the
wheelchair
sequel,
soon.
like that had the girl
So
in it.
good.
I definitely saw that when it was like on.
And then we had PCAP right after that.
Oh,
Which was incredible.
another, we came home exhausted because casualtoys.com, for those of you that don't know, is the thing, were the sponsors for the Playroom.
I love it. That's one of the things that I think I surprised us. We surprised ourselves a little.
Well, first of all, I'm going to tell everybody that was there or wasn't there, the Playroom is Mallory's baby. that girl, for a girl who actually doesn't like going to playrooms at night.
It's not that I don't like it. I just need a more intimate environment to feel safe. And that's my own like trauma
And not
and
everybody
shit.
likes
That has
playrooms.
nothing
It's
to
okay.
do with like playrooms in general. That's just me. Like,
Yeah, well, I
feral
mean,
cat.
we have a playroom in our house,
Yeah.
and you like that one just fine. So that's
Yeah.
not my point. My point, though, is that for somebody that doesn't frequent a lot of playrooms,
Yeah.
I think it actually worked to your benefit because you did not have any preconceived notions when you went into that room as to what needed to be there. You kind of let your imagination roam free. And what it resulted in was a really unique experience. For the playroom was not like any other playroom a lot of people have been in.
Yeah. I think this thing we're going to do better next year is we're going to host tours so that we had so many great pieces of equipment in there. Liberator furniture, like so many pieces of Liberator. And we had a bunch of like diagrams, which were great, but they're hard to read in the low light. You know, let's be honest. And like, are you going to sit there and read it when your dick's hard? Probably not. So I think we're going to do scheduled. Yeah, I think we're going to do some scheduled tours so we can give demonstrations.
That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
You know, get on it and sit like this.
But,
and now Mallory's going to sit in your lap. And
I mean, okay. I'm not mad. But like, you know, big shout out to Kate at Wanderlust Libertine Events. Like she puts on a sensational event and showed up, killed it once again.
I feel like we need to say that again. Kate just absolutely fucking smashed
it.
Podcast. Well, so I think we're kind of getting away from Podcastability and PCAP branding. Libertine Events, Miami Vices was the event.
Yeah.
And we keep calling it PCAP because that was its original branding. But Kate is one of a kind. She's one of our best friends. If you guys don't know that, if you don't like Kate, well, fuck you too. But no, she's awesome. And she has allowed us to be a part of what she does. And yeah, we work our butts off when we go there, but it's not just because we love Kate. It's because we love the people that go to those events with her too.
Yeah.
And it does take a village and a team such that if you've listened to Kate's most recent episode, which had Mallory on it.
I had so much fun. That was such a great time.
Yeah.
I forgot that we were recording. That's how you know, like you really like are in like friendship with somebody because you just forget.
You two almost have a better flow than you and I do. Like I think you guys have podcasted more in the last year than we have like together. So.
It's probably true.
Yeah. And what I'll say is Kate announced that she is one of our hosts for Casual Swinger Week 2025.
I cannot wait. So Casual Swinger Week 2025, if you're interested, it's March 29th through April 5th. It's going to be outstanding. We actually just got back from Hedonism, which we're going to get into.
Literally like 3 years ago.
Literally 3 days ago.
Welcome to Hurricane Hedo.
To talk about Casual Swinger Week, we had a bunch of meetings, and I am already like blown away at what's on the table for next year. And I'm so excited. I can't wait. But we'll get into that, you know, as more things develop. You know, you got to drop breadcrumbs. Can't give you everything. But if you want more information or you want to book, go to casualswingerweek.com or hedonism2.com.
That's a rule for life, fellas. Just put in a little bit at first, just the tip, just to see how it feels. And then go priest.
Ask her first. Don't listen to him.
But so we had a great time at PCAP. So, and you know, there were a couple of great recaps on PCAP. As a matter of fact, Hump Day Quickies. We met at Libertine Events, Miami Vices, which is a much bigger mouthful. I really like the PCAP nomenclature.
You can handle it. I believe in you.
I'm going to do my best. But we met Hump Day Quickies. We had not met them before. Absolutely sweetheart. Just, you know,
very much so.
I'm gonna say this, and I don't mean this to sound how it's going to sound, how some people are probably going to take it. But once you've been in the podcasting space for a while and you meet a bunch of other podcasters, people that do what you do, maybe it all kind of starts to sound the same. We all kind of have the same sort of experiences. Maybe there's just not a lot that feels new. So you stop paying as much attention. It's not that we don't support each other, not that we don't love each other. We do. We love all the other podcasters. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's easy for it to become kind of a lack of spatial awareness, or you're even what's the cognitive dissonance. Just kind of a too much, you know? And
I have no idea where you're going. So I'm sitting here on the edge of
just nodding. Well, so I kind of let that happen, and I really didn't invest initially in Hump Day Quickies until I knew they were coming.
And to be fair, like you're not a huge podcast. I'm
not,
gonna call you out. I am like like Garfield with the lasagna.
Yeah.
When it comes to digital media on the podcast side, that's me. You're the YouTube videos, you're the articles, he fucking nerds out on like legal documents.
Yeah, I like
that's
to read.
his forte.
But
me, I consume podcasts.
Jay's famous for saying he only listens after 10 episodes.
Right.
And so I tried to make a cute comment like that. And Mr. Humpty Quickies looks at me and says, well, we just went over 100 episodes. I felt like this tall. I
You
was like,
should have.
wait a minute. Okay.
I couldn't
So-
save you from yourself.
No. And so when I got to dig into it, I'm like, wow, I like their format.
Mhm.
I like them as people.
Mhm.
She's
They're
gorgeous.
super
She's
cool.
a sweetheart. I got to say, she did something super cool at the event. I was DJing in the lobby the last night. And one of the things that I do when I DJ for lifestyle events is I ask people to go dance with somebody they haven't met yet, somebody that they like, somebody they think's cute. Go dance with somebody you haven't met yet for this song. And Nessa from, I don't know if I got her name right. I might not have got her name right, but Mrs. Humpty Quickies, I'll edit that out. Came over and danced with me in the DJ booth, which I thought was really cool. I think they're super sweet people, and I love what they brought to the event. And I love that Kate is bringing in other podcasters.
Yeah,
to
she's
her
always been
events.
super supportive, of the new kids on the block in the community. She's always really been great at outreach and support. So yeah,
And there were lots
Another
of
reason
ones.
we love
There
her.
was that hot couple from Georgia was there. I'd
Yeah.
never heard of them or met them. I listened to a couple of their episodes since then. They're great.
yeah.
It kind of gives me hope that the next generation of lifestyle podcasters could be pretty good. I'm kind of digging it. I think it's gonna be fun.
Love you.
You know what?
Welcome to where we've all been for a few.
I've been checked out. I said it when we started.
No, we divided and conquered. To be fair, I have not been consuming at the level I usually do. I've been trying to learn more like on the business side of
Mhm.
things. So my consumption is trying from like entertainment and infotainment to like business practices and more like information that would bore the fuck out of everyone here that I'm not gonna like
Well,
not right, like
I just-
educating myself.
I love it. I love that we get to do the things we do. I
Right.
love that, obviously Casual Swinger Week was incredible. I wish that Derek had not gotten dysentery and gone down for the week because I felt terrible for him.
Yeah.
It wasn't dysentery, by the way. It was just he had a stomach thing
Yeah.
and he was down for a while. And then we had a couple other people go down, various reasons. And it just made
And
it
whole,
a
like,
huge
the-
challenge.
Yeah. And usually going down's a good thing. And this means something totally different.
No.
And it is what it is, but it all shook out in a while. There were a lot of
Both
talking.
events. I mean, the Playroom was
So
hopping at
much
Miami Vices. Was
Fucking-
hopping.
so much like
Henry.
positive sexual energy. We'll just leave it there. Like everyone was super complimentary, super friendly, super flirty, and that energy is addictive and it prolificated, and it was lovely. It was lovely, and I love that everyone had a similar but yet different experience there. So
Yeah, and I totally had a crush
Yeah.
on the other DJ that Kate hired for the event. So she was cute.
oh, the one that meowed into the microphone.
Okay, yeah, she did meow in the microphone.
Yeah,
But aside from that, she was really cute. And
Yeah.
everybody liked her.
Yeah.
So everybody
Yeah.
thought she was really nice.
yeah.
She
Till
did-
she
she did-
meowed
she did.
like the
She
cat
meowed an
food
entire song.
cat
actually.
food commercial. It was hilarious.
Yeah. I think
Wasn't sure. I was like, I've never felt this old ever. and I
Brian
don't
from Revive
understand.
Parties was on a ladder when she started doing it. And I saw him start to wobble because he was laughing and he was trying to hold, he literally had to reach up and grab the rafter above his head.
No, she
to
was
keep
she
him
was
falling
she's
over.
super sweet, super adorable. Like kudos to her. Yes, but that was definitely like
She
a
was
record
delicious.
scratch,
She was
record,
cute.
record scratch moment though.
Yeah.
I like the bartender, so.
Well, you
I
know
gotta
what? I'm
say,
sorry. No, God help us if that girl was listening to this show right now.
Call me.
We both, yeah. She's like, call me. Hey,
call
come back."
me.
Yeah, no, she was gorgeous.
Yeah.
She was fun.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that was two things that made me
So
feel
funny.
really
They're
good.
all fucking room full of swingers. I'm like in the bartender.
Why is it we had a room full of swingers and we hit on the bartender? We did.
We.
No, you did.
Yeah. I like.
All right, but
I
I
was
did. I did.
crushing.
Well, I was DJing
No.
at the time.
I think I made it a little weird, but she was like so cool about it. But like I was crushing hard. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I think,
you
and
were.
I feel like I was reciprocated.
honestly,
Like
I
we
was
followed
too,
each other on Instagram.
because I kept walking to the back of the room to get my beers
So-
from her. So, and she had, and you know what? I'm not a huge tattoo guy, but hers were sexy.
Oh no,
She-
I like
she
tattoos.
was tatted up.
Huh? And
And
she had that
she had
cute
long
little
blonde hair.
nose ring. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then when she said she basically came to me and told me she was really feeling the music I was playing.
Yeah.
She loved me on the mic. And I was like, wait a minute, is she flirting with me? I feel like she might be flirting with me. Honey, I think I'm getting flirted with.
You totally came and checked in. I was like, yeah.
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 I think I'm getting
Yes,
flirted
Forrest
with by the
Gump.
bartender.
That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, I think
right
she's
now.
actually hitting on me right now. So I was like, you need to see where we are with that. So I sent my secret weapon, which is the hot chick, back to, see what happens.
Oh
with this
no, I
bartender.
was already on the mission.
You
You
were
didn't
already
have
on
to
it.
send me, like, there was no,
Yeah. And so, but here's where I think that
I didn't know
I
the
think you
segue
let us
though.
down. You gave her our number, but you didn't get hers.
That's true. That's true. So no, what actually happened is we exchanged Instagrams. I think she started following us on Instagram on our multiple profiles. Yeah.
Oh, so we need to pick out
I
from
think
how many
it, I think
thousand
it,
people.
I think it, well, and I told her to send me a message. And to be fair, I had a couple drinks and like, I know it'd been a hot minute. And then I thought about giving her like my phone number. And the manager was checking her out and walking her out for the night. And like, I missed the window. So that's totally on me. A total rookie move.
But an hour after they were supposed to leave. So these bartenders were having so
They
much
would
fun
not
at this
leave,
party.
actually.
They
So,
stayed
yeah.
unpaid for an hour
Yeah.
just to party.
Just to hang out and dance. I went dance with her for a little bit, like, or dance by her.
Well, because they danced behind the bar.
Yeah.
But what was fun for me was because we moved the party due to weather considerations. We moved the party into the lobby the last night, and the guy behind the front desk was getting it. He was.
Oh yeah, the night
grooving.
manager was cute as shit. Yeah, he was back there just losing his mind. You did a lot of mashups, which I love. So
I play a lot of mashups when I play because I like to get two generations at once.
Ooh.
What?
And just like that, it was gone.
And there it went.
Story of my life.
By the way, we just kind of jumped in this episode and just started talking. So what are we talking about today? Hurricane Hedo is the name of this episode.
You. I was thinking of the segue.
Hurricane Hedo is the name of this episode.
Yeah.
So we went down just a week ago to Hedonism 2. We arrived 2 days, 2 days after Hurricane Beryl, a Category 4 hurricane, when it passed just south of Jamaica. The eye of Hurricane Beryl passed a little over 50 miles south of the southernmost point of Jamaica. Now, if you aren't in Florida like we are, and hurricane people, because if you live in Florida or on the coastal regions of Texas, Louisiana, like that,
South Carolina, North Carolina,
South Carolina, North Carolina, you're probably not well versed in hurricanes, but 50 miles is a eternity. It is a million miles. It might as well be in terms of severity. 10 miles can make a big difference.
Literally 5 miles can make a huge difference. I mean, but to make it sound like it was no big deal is not accurate, because the southern side of Jamaica, specifically the breadbasket area, St. Elizabeth, south of Kingston, was very, very much affected. And that's where a lot of their farming communities are. So Jamaica is going to have such challenges moving forward. When we left, more than 86% of the population already had water and electricity restored. Which
86 out of the 88%. Now, so 86% of the 88% that were without power initially.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk it, first of all, Jamaica is a long island and a narrow island, meaning there's not a lot to it from a north to south perspective in terms of geography. In the United States, you could probably drive from north to south in an hour. However, in Jamaica, it's largely country roads.
And
they do have something they call a highway that runs between Kingston and Montego Bay, but it's a 4-lane road by American standards. Now, when we talk about kind of what happened, Hurricane Beryl at one point was set to kind of make, and you're looking at me, maybe if you're on YouTube, if you're not, kind of a cross along the bottom and across the edge, which would have had it on a collision course for the eye to go directly over Negril, 7 Mile Beach, and what they call the resilient corridor of Jamaica.
Which couldn't be more true after leaving there.
Yeah, resilient means more today than it ever did.
It really, really had. I mean, could it have been worse? Absolutely. But was it bad? Yes, it was. The majority of that part of the island and south were without power, without water, and they're in a water shortage to add, insult to injury on top of everything else. And these people got up that night, the next day, and went right to work, moving trees, limbs,
fixing each other's
debris,
houses.
fixing each other's houses. We're very fortunate to have it's a family-owned business, and they do driving, private driving.
Mr. Reasonable for all your needs. If you need to get in touch with them,
let us know. They're absolutely incredible. And our driver, who we've known since he was a young buck,
a long time.
A very long time. He's been helping his friend rebuild. He had a friend that lost his roof, which there, were a few of those. Mostly down trees were the great issue. They didn't greatly so far flooding, but the trees included fruit trees like breadfruit, ackee, mangoes, which mangoes are seen as banana, but the breadfruit and the banana are year round. So we're a little concerned what that means for the shortages that of the inherent
Well, that goes back to
farming there. But to my point, before we get off base, they really came in as a community. And everyone we talked to was just very grateful, very grateful, and very committed to helping each other.
Didn't
And
that
that
change your
just,
mind on some things, like how happy they are just to be alive?
yeah, absolutely. That's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
For sure. But they, go ahead.
No, I'm agreeing with you. It's crazy. Like, I mean, people that lost just about everything, and you say, "How are you?" "I'm alive, and for that I give thanks."
Yeah.
Like, I heard that a few times.
Yeah. And just how they take care of each other and truly treat each other like a community. And they're like, yeah, this is what's the deal is right now, but we're doing all these things and
Mhm.
just grit, resilience, tenacity. Like,
I think
it was
to your
absolutely
point,
incredible.
resilience.
Yeah.
One of the things that our friend Lee said is, "I have a box of nails. My neighbor needs nails.
Mm-hmm.
So now my neighbor has nails."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was pouring concrete the morning he drove us to the airport.
Yeah, he got up at 5 a.m. to pour concrete,
Yeah.
and then came and got us and took us to the airport.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
We're like, dude, call us. We'll come help.
Well, yeah,
Like,
that's
I don't
just
know.
it. Call us. We'll get carry bags concrete. So you might be thinking right now, why did you go? The island is recovering from a Category 4 hurricane. We did not necessarily know what we were getting into.
Question.
Okay. We knew that there were a lot of people going, and we were going with the Fluffernutters, run by Jared and Cheryl Lynn. They're absolutely amazing people, and the Fluffs are just a great group in general.
Yeah, we met them in 2015 on our honeymoon.
We did, and had a great time with them. Then, our path at Hedo took us in a different direction, but we've always remained friendly. Now, that said, we have a lot of resources on the island, a lot of friends today that we didn't have back then. And so we had conversations such that we knew that the roads were clear enough. We knew that the resort was running on generator power, which is enough to run most of the critical infrastructure at the resort.
Yeah.
But what we were concerned about wasn't our vacation at this point. It was our friends, our family there, the people that we care about. And so we thought about not going.
Yeah,
we talked about not going.
We did, but I think the desire to connect, touch, and offer our help to the people we've grown to know and love over the years, we just made a judgment call.
Yeah.
Because, granted, do we get to talk to them on WhatsApp? But the connectivity was so poor down there.
No one has service.
Because cell towers, when you don't have power, cell doesn't work. Contrary to some belief, we did hear this conversation from some unnamed person. We're not going to... We're going to keep their information private, but thought that cell should work without power, and that's not how it works.
Karen was adamant about that.
She really was.
We're going to call her Karen.
She really was. I hope her name wasn't actually Karen.
It might be. I don't know.
But so we can connect with everyone. So we're like, okay, so we're going to go down there, get a status check and see what we can do to help.
And see what's
And
up.
honestly, I was in utter shock at what they had been able to accomplish in less than 48 hours.
My shock didn't start there. So first of all, when we were monitoring the storm here in the Casual Swinger Studios in beautiful sunny Orlando, Florida, I just had to do it. But I was monitoring it, and the weather station at Hedo said 49 miles per hour was the highest gust.
Hilarious, because I'm
like, well, that's nothing. We get thunderstorms.
Like they said, sustained at 45, and I'm like,
well, what we found out was that the tree that the weather station was attached to blew over, and the highest recorded was 49 miles an hour. And as we made our way around the western side of the island and started moving south, things changed really rapidly. So when we got off the plane, Montego Bay Airport, Sangster International Airport was in pretty good shape. I mean, a couple of bent, roof pieces, some things missing, some trees missing branches. I'm like, all right, pretty standard. All right, it wasn't that bad. And as we started to go south, it started to look more and more like a goddamn bomb went off.
It did. I mean, you could tell the sparseness and the asymmetricalness of the debris. So the debris wasn't completely cleared off the roads, for example. I mean, the roads were cleared enough, but sometimes there were situations where they hadn't gotten to removing the larger pieces of debris. So it was in one lane. But bless Jamaicans, because in America, I'm sorry, we can't deal with that. We would be at an utter standstill.
They'd be standing there bitching.
They figured out how to navigate this in a very useful way where traffic didn't really get backed up. They just kind of gave each other turns, and
there
had
was
a
no
zipper.
police telling people when to go.
They just figured it out. Where I was like, this would never fly here. not even on our backcountry roads, because we would just give up. It would confuddle us. Like it just
we would just quit.
get confuzzled. Like,
So, or we'd fight over it, or people would be selfish, or whatever
or
it is
just
we
like
do.
be analysis paralysis. I don't know what to do, and just stop there and stare.
Well, as we made our way down into, past Lucy and down into more of Hanover, Westmoreland, as we started to make our way into that area,
Bay,
I really started to look deeper into the hills and see the wide swaths of damage.
It is. And like you could see, it was obviously the winds were higher than that, because some of the palms that were still intact, and which a lot of them were, but not all of them. But you could tell like there was an archway,
or it snapped the top out completely.
Snapped the top out, and they were completely gone. It was just a stub. But they had started to lean to some degree, and they were all leaning in the same way, and that tells you that the sustained winds were so strong for so long that is now their permanency. That is how that tree is going to grow forevermore. And so if you ever see a palm tree that does this and this,
that's
what happened to it.
It's seen some shit.
It's seen some shit.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of, so Hedo is 42, 43 years old. The trees, some of the trees at Hedo have seen some shit. Hurricane Gilbert in 1988 was massive and did incredible amounts of damage. And those trees predate that. Some of those trees blew over. Yeah. Some of those trees aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
And it was astonishing to me once we got to the property, and there was a great deal of damage to the trees on property, but it was mostly the trees.
Mostly the trees. Most of the trees.
The jungle got
very, very minimal structural damages. I mean, overall, some people lost their roofs, thatches, some of the huts, and like smaller structures were gone.
Mango trees.
Overall, the mango trees. But
in mango season too.
I know, and it only comes once a year. I'm more concerned about the breadfruit, because that's year round. The bananas year round.
Well, so you're getting to my worry, which is I worry that what's coming for Jamaica is a fan, to an extent, a mild fan. And here's why. So when I traveled down there during COVID and I reported on the reopening of the island, and I was alone, I didn't get to take you with me that time. One of the things that was said to me, and it's on your YouTube channel, you can probably find it, where it was on video. And I asked how they were getting by with no money, with no way to feed their families, with no tourism, because tourism is well over 85% of the GDP of Jamaica right now.
Yeah.
When GDP
Which did lead into one of the other conversations we had about having conversations with other people that were thinking about going down there. We're like, well, the other side of this conversation is if tourism isn't there, they can't go to work, they can't make money. So like,
that's the answer to this whole conversation, right?
Yeah.
But
sorry, I didn't mean
no, it's okay. No,
point.
I did it to you. I foreshadowed you a little while ago, so I didn't mean to, but hey, here we are.
It's my life.
Cutting people off, cutting each other off. It's called marriage. Anyway, so what this Jamaican said to me, his name's Shellboy. He's a drug dealer, but he's a great guy. He said, if you starve to death as a Jamaican, you're lazy. We have fruit in every tree and there's fish around every corner. Well, that's not true now. There's not fruit in every tree.
Yeah, it's the accessibility is definitely grossly diminished. Yeah. Especially depending on what side of the island. The north side of the island, less affected. The northeastern side of the island. The breadbasket. And that's literally their agriculture mecca.
Their farmland is underwater. They're mosquito ridden.
The Jamaicans are very literal. The resilient corridor. Nailed it. The breadbasket. Nailed it. That is over 65-70% of their total agricultural output comes from that St. Elizabeth and that southern area in Jamaica that's south of Kingston. Yeah. And they're going to have some impacts there. The benefit, though, to being in a tropical climate like that is it won't be as long as if it were in a northern territory here in the U.S., where we have very distinct short seasonalities to it, where they have more availability to regrow. So will they go through a deficit? Absolutely. Will they be able to recover in a shorter amount of time because they're in the Caribbean and because of the circumstances? Yes, as long as they don't have any additional impacts from other storms this year, which I think is something, I don't know if it's clickbait or the fodder, but this is maybe one of those anomalous years. I've been a Floridian most of my life, and the seasonality of storms, to see a storm like that happen that early in the season is definitely, it classifies itself as an anomaly. And historically, if you have an anomaly that early in the season, It could really be a tough one. So like I'm holding out hope that we're
I'm trying to
wrong.
think of an analogy that really explains what happened with Beryl. If you really weren't paying attention because you weren't going to Jamaica, or you don't give a shit about Jamaica, then one night, in almost 1 hour, it went from
Not
this
an
is a
hour, but
thunderstorm
close.
to this is a Category 5
It
hurricane.
wasn't an hour, but it
I
was
know.
a
I'm just
very,
saying,
very short
in
format.
meteorological terms, it was an hour. It was nothing.
Incredible how fast it went from like how it staged itself.
It was crazy, and
And
that's
all
never
the
happened. It's
all the
unprecedented.
circumstances that allowed it to do so.
Yeah, it was unprecedented.
Yeah.
And of course, it just hooked right along that Southern Caribbean line, and then went and tore ass up in Cancun, and then went and gave a kiss to Houston. I mean, that storm took no prisoners.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
It was like a guy with herpes just fucking throwing it everywhere.
giving it to everybody. God, you had to mention herpes now. Okay. Anyway, the reason we bring this up is we really thought about not going. And then we got to thinking about the fact that that we as travelers and as tourists are a massive part of their incomes. And if we don't go, they don't work. And if they're not working, they can't buy nails to share with the neighbors.
Well, and that's where we're at. Like, well, how much can we pack in our suitcases
A lot.
to bring down to our people?
We took full suitcases down and we brought home empty suitcases.
Literally, we went down. I think the airline we fly allows up to 50 pounds, and we checked the max amount of bags we could. And I think we came back with a total of 52 pounds
between all the bags, counting the weight of the bags.
Please don't tell TSA. We retract this, delete that.
What happened?
Edit. What?
Exactly.
Let's go back.
That's
Hi, welcome to Casual Swinger Podcast.
We're trying the whole thing over again. No, guys, we love Jamaica. We love our friends in Jamaica, and we love Hedo. Hedo, and I mean, this has run a little longer than we planned on it running, but
which creates a great segue for the conversation we had with the general manager.
We did, and the whole point of this, we're about to flip over for you guys to a conversation we had with Mr. David Graham. He is 7 months into his tenure as the general manager of Hedonism 2 in Negril, Jamaica, where he talked to him a little bit about their preparations, what the storm was like, what they did for people while the storm was going on, and what their response was after the storm. But just to give you guys a preview, it was like nothing I've ever seen before. Their professionalism, their communication, their execution, and then how they responded after the fact. They came together as a team. Some employees worked 40 hours with no sleep.
Oh, yeah. No sleep, and they cross-trained, for lack of a better word. Everyone was doing it was an all hands. It didn't matter what your designation or your name tag said and what, under an operations perspective, where you were assigned to. It was what needed to be done and how can I help, or what are you capable of doing to help?
The definition of all hands on deck.
And it was absolutely incredible. No complaints, all support, all camaraderie. I cannot celebrate their heart, their integrity, and their tenacity more than I could.
I'll tell you this.
And I was already a Hedo,
we're already Hedo nut huggers, right?
Obviously.
But the girls from the Kama Sutra Palace are gorgeous. Okay. They are Romanian. Well, and Rebecca is from the UK, but they're just beautiful.
Yeah.
And
they tend to be from the Eastern European bloc, or from an exotic European country.
I have a crush on literally all of them.
They're just wonderful.
They're amazing people. But my point is, we got there and they are standing there looking like Rosie the Riveter with their sleeves rolled up and their hair up.
Yeah, they've been working housekeeping all day.
They had been cleaning toilets.
Yeah, they've been working housekeeping all day to make sure that the resort was prepared for any incoming guests.
Yeah.
For needs, to do assessments. Like, it literally all hands on deck. And that is a true definition of a team there. They had entertainment staff during the hurricane in designated safe areas to help
calm people down,
align gas. And one of the tricks, and this is something like people joke about Florida having hurricane parties, and that's grossly overstated in some cases. You definitely need a distraction because there's a lot going on, and remaining calm in a crisis is very, very important, because there's moments that you may have to react to something. And from a strategic point of view, that is brilliant that you have designated areas, everyone's assigned, they're in their safe spaces, and you have guests. Keeping them calm, keeping them entertained and slightly distracted actually helps to prevent statistically any additional injuries, because when you react in crisis, when your fight and flight mode is kicked on, unless you're trained for that, you're more apt to cause trouble or get harmed than to help.
You're
And
so politically correct.
what?
Well, David said something similar. He was
He
talking about the
did.
people that were wandering the resort during the storm, and he's
And
like,
you're just like,
and he can't say anything, but we can. Like, what
you're
the
like,
fuck is
what
wrong
the
with
fuck
you?
is wrong with you? Literally. But honestly, though, that is brilliant.
It was.
And again, another all hands on deck moment.
Their response was nothing short of tremendous. Now, their response was aided by the fact that by and large, the storm was not as impactful on that side of the island as it could have been.
Yeah.
However, one of the things we heard from some locals that we talked to was their belief. Now, Jamaica's a very spiritual country. They're a Christian country and a Catholic country.
Well, and they have Rastafarians, and like it's
very spiritual.
I'd agree. It's very spiritual.
They said the trees saved us.
Yeah.
The trees sacrificed themselves to protect us.
Mhm.
God put the trees here to protect us from the storm. They believe that. And I am inclined to believe it with them because the trees were most of the damage we saw. And even when we went down into the West End, where we saw roads washed out and people still with no power, no water. And honestly, they've had a water shortage in Jamaica going on like 8 months.
Yeah.
At least on the West End.
A better part of 6 months. Yeah.
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 And so the fact that everything that's already going on, the struggle these people are enduring, water shortages, heat, it was hot as hell down there. I mean, I live in Florida.
And in July, like it's hot. You have no power, no water. You can't open your windows because mosquitoes.
Mm-hmm, they'll carry you away.
They will literally carry you away.
It was really unbelievable. So what we're going to do is we're going to let you guys enjoy this interview with David. It's not a super long interview.
I hope you are as charmed and as endeared as I was. This man, not only is he well-spoken, you can catch when someone's just, they're giving you the political answer. And did he give the right answers? Absolutely. But did he give the answers he wanted to give? Yes.
He was nothing short of extraordinary.
Yeah. I was super endeared by him. And I had to pause because I wanted to give him the biggest bear hug and I didn't want to make it awkward. Felt like
I don't think he would have minded. If I had done it,
he probably would have let me, but I didn't want to make it weird.
Well,
but I was genuinely endeared by his leadership and his compassion.
His leadership is clear. And so this is our third time being exposed to David in his 7 months being there.
And I'm a skeptical cat, like very much so.
Well, remember,
he's everybody's best friend.
Well, the last GM, we caught him in his first week, and we introduced you all to the last GM, who was Dermot DeLucre, was his name.
Yep.
And he didn't last very long because Hedo's not for everybody. So we figured we'd let this guy marinate for a while, see how he does, see if he works out, and then we'll talk to him. Well, obviously, this natural disaster happened, and we felt like it was important to share with all of you, not only what happened, how it happened, how the resort responded, but where they're going from here. And during this conversation, I just remembered that the other 2 times we've met David, it was really noteworthy to me that he gets out every day, multiple times a day, and walks that property and talks to guests. He talks to staff members, right down to landscapers. I've seen him talk. Everyone is accessible to him. Mr. Graham is a leader. And he's a good one, and Hedo is lucky to have him. And I think you guys are going to agree with me after watching this interview with him. He was fantastic. And so much to the point that I actually tested him a little during the interview. And I wanted to see how he would take it.
You conned him a little bit. I'm not going to lie. We told him, we just want to talk about the hurricane. And then we're sitting there. And then you started asking him leadership and management questions. And I was like, oh, you did not brief this.
I wanted to see where he would go with it.
I know, but I low key, if I could have my tiny little leg could kicked your knees from under the table, I totally would have.
I even asked him about the price increases, and
he never said he never blinked.
He didn't blink. He was amazing. And given the situation he's been in,
impressed.
The first day we saw him, he hadn't shaved in like 4 days. He had been.
To be fair, neither of you didn't go through a hurricane.
Also true. I'm lazy.
So.
But my point, though, is not that he didn't shave. It's that he's there working. He was there on site, staying on property, cleaning.
Yeah.
By the way, he was working on the dining room floor.
Yeah.
Serving guests.
Yeah.
When we got there.
Huh.
So
true story.
Without further ado, we're going to give you guys this interview and then come back and kind of wrap up this episode. However, it's important for us to tell you This isn't it for our episodes. We've got stuff for you guys. We're only home for like another day, so we're going to drop this one. We're going to go do what we got to do in Nashville with Jared and Sherilyn. So that's going to be great. We're looking forward to it. And then we're going to come back and we got some new episodes for you guys. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. Now, of course, I made that promise and I've lied to you before. So
Yeah, he
feel free
doesn't
not
know that we
believe
have
me.
to leave for Virginia right after that.
Ah, shit, fuck. We'll figure
But
something out.
after that, we'll be back.
Yeah, that. We'll be back. And
August
we have
is our
lots
month.
of new whiskey for you. We had a distillery visit that was unbelievable with Jay and Angie that we need to
Oh
talk
my gosh,
about.
there's so much. We literally have probably 20 episodes in the can.
Yeah.
Some
we
of
really
them
do.
really fun that I'd like to get to.
Yeah, lots of whiskey of the month, lots of cool stuff going on. And don't forget casualswingerweek.com. But I'll let Mallory cover that when I ask her, honey, you want to tell people how to find us before we drop into this interview?
Yeah, is this the end of the episode or like the
No,
whole episode?
no,
Okay.
we're going to come back.
All right,
after
we are Casual Swinger. You can find us everywhere. We're casualswinger.com. You can message us at podcast@casualswinger.com. That comes to both of us. Make sure you visit Casual Toys, our online toy and lingerie store. If you have questions, there's a chat bubble that also comes to us. You can find us on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, old school, new school, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, as well as STCSLS and Cassidy.
Yeah, you're feeling good about yourself right now.
I
Just gonna
am.
Rub those
I'm a
big old
baller.
boots over there. I see
No,
you.
because I don't think that's appropriate for YouTube.
It's not.
You can do it. I can't.
Okay, I can touch mine.
Yeah.
We'll be right back after this. You've been listening to Casual Swinger.
Whether it turned on or not, because I can't see it.
Right? There you go. Well, welcome back to Casual Swinger. My name's Mickey.
And I'm Mallory.
And we are here with David Graham, General Manager of Hedonism 2 in sunny and beautiful Negril, Jamaica, although we're indoors in, fluorescent light right now. I feel like we should be on the beach talking.
In the
to
air
you.
conditioning, it's always good.
I know, right? I look 20 years younger.
I'll tell you, after 8 days here at Hedo, being in air conditioning is fantastic. And after you not having air conditioning
No.
for 10 days,
No, I didn't have air conditioning at home for ages. We had a lot of power issues outside of the hotel. We were all right in the hotel. We had our generators, which were fantastic. We managed to get air conditioning for all of the guests, like less than 24 hours after the hurricane. But outside of the resort, yeah, nobody had anything.
oh,
So the poor staff struggled with no power, no water. So it's just been horrific for them.
that's unbelievable. And, during the course of our stay here, our conversations with your staff
Yeah.
have all been overwhelmingly positive, despite what they're dealing with at
Oh, yeah.
home.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple of refrains that we've heard, and we're going to get into all this here in the next couple of minutes, so chill. But the couple of refrains we've heard. One is that the trees protected us. The trees saved us, and because the trees got decimated here on the
Yeah,
island.
absolutely. And I actually think the wind direction really saved us, because
Yeah.
coming from behind the hotel, I think made a real difference. And yeah, having so many trees probably did protect parts of the hotel. We were very lucky that the trees that fell didn't fall onto the buildings, they either fell away or they
Mhm.
fell onto the beach. But had the wind direction been coming from the ocean, then I think the biggest risk would have been storm surge, and that would have brought a whole new set of problems that we would have had to overcome. And I guess trees would have fallen in other directions and fallen on buildings. So I think we were really lucky with the wind direction. And I think Negril is always a little bit protected because it's kind of around the corner from,
Yeah.
from where the storm was heading. So I think we were very lucky in that sense. But yeah, it wasn't a nice experience.
That was your first hurricane.
My first hurricane, category 4. So if you're going to do one, have a big one. So yeah, it was tough. And being here, it was I'll admit it was quite scary.
Yeah.
And I think the staff, some of them were pretty scared because I guess some of them hadn't been through it either. The last big storm they had was 2005. So it was all still
Well, that's really big.
a
One
bit,
was 1988.
a bit kind of new and different for them.
Yeah.
So the team coped incredibly well, and I think the work that they did prior to the hurricane arriving, and then once it had gone, the team were just Trojans. They just worked their socks off.
It's truly unbelievable.
It was, from the outsider perspective, we saw a lot of guest reports
Yeah.
of during and the aftermath. And it's really incredible to see the staff and the guests basically hit the ground running.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the morning of Thursday when you got up, and I got up really early, I had to walk along the beach and got to the jungle, and my heart sank. I was like, oh wow, this is my favourite part of the property, and it's decimated. And then you walk back along the beach and you see the staff out there with the guests. And then I walked along to the new pool, and there were 6 guests in the new pool. and the scooter were desperately trying to get them out, and they go, no, we're cleaning it, we're getting it ready. And I said, yeah, actually, they spoke to me at breakfast. They said they were going to jump in the pool and start clearing the leaves. My plan was kind of, is if I can get the new pool up and running and I can get the air conditioning back on, then those two things are pretty key for our guests, and obviously food. But I think those two things people would really want to have done, and we managed to achieve that, which was fantastic. And that was with the help of all of the staff and all of the guests. And I think everyone really pulled together. There were some staff that didn't sleep for 48 hours. They were here,
I believe it,
out and about. They were, particularly the maintenance guys. They were on roofs fixing stuff. They were in guest bedrooms getting air conditioning going. All of the team. By the time we got to some kind of Friday, and then by the time we got to that weekend, everyone was just exhausted.
Yeah.
And then, of course, because staff couldn't get here, we had this situation where we had an on-site team. We had about 90 staff that stayed in the hotel. And they couldn't really leave because nobody else could get here. And so by the time we could then actually let them go, everyone was just so exhausted. But the resort looks great now. You couldn't tell that we'd even had a hurricane.
Barely, aside from if you look up in the trees and you see them snapped. And for anybody living under a rock that's watching this at home or listening to this at home, Category 4 Hurricane Beryl went just south of the island of Jamaica, which lashed the crap out of the island.
Oh yeah.
The south side of the island.
Yeah, the south side of the island just got nailed.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. St. Elizabeth, which is, I guess, the breadbasket they call it, of Jamaica, was really badly hit, which is a shame because it's such a beautiful part of the island. It's where the farming community is, it's where there are some stunning beach resorts and so forth. So it's real sad to hear that. And some of our staff, our family that live there. So, and I think one of the biggest difficulties for us was that because Digicel went down, we couldn't get in contact with anybody. So the hardest thing was, yes, I had 90 people here that I knew that they were okay because they were here, but the other 400 I had no clue about because we couldn't get in contact with them.
So as a leader, that's heartbreaking.
So that was hard, really hard.
Yeah, that's absolutely horrible. One of the other refrain that I was referring to a few moments ago was the resilience of the Jamaican people. The other thing people said to me was, I'm just happy to be alive.
Yeah.
That is literally how their triage worked.
Yeah.
I'm alive, so we can start there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And your triage was your people, right? And then going from there, it's crazy.
And I think Jamaica is a tough island, and you can see that people are tough, and they fight back, and you can see that a lot of islands that the hurricane went through, even the Category 5 storms, wiped out some islands. Unfortunately, a lot of the Caribbean, there were few deaths. So a lot of the islands were very, very lucky, and Jamaica equally very, very lucky in terms of deaths. People prepare and they know in advance what's going to happen, so they do prepare well, and they make sure that they do what they need to do. And what was great, the staff were able to then, after the hurricane had gone, they were able to go home and try and sort out what was going on at home, because of course they'd not heard from anybody. So
no, absolutely not. What about your preparations? What did you do? As far as you hadn't been through this before, so what did you do?
So we have a hurricane manual, which was really interesting to read. Having not, I've worked with crisis manuals before in other properties that we have bad weather in the UK, but not quite as bad as a hurricane. So I read through the hurricane manual, and it made a lot of sense. And then what you tend to do is we all keep an eye on the Weather Channel, and we look at the Hurricane Centre, and we look at how things are tracking. And then I guess kind of 36 hours, we kind of take the lead from the government, so they will make certain announcements, and they'll say that you're on hurricane watch or you're on whatever level that's at, and then the manual matches those particular sessions. So we then have a meeting with the team, we'll run through the hurricane manual, make sure everyone understands what their responsibilities are, and every department has a different responsibility. So purchasing department will go and buy bottled water, they'll make sure that the hurricane store has all of the stuff that it needs. And there's all sorts of random stuff in there, like Wellington boots, there's also big yellow jackets to wear outside, there's batteries, torches, chainsaws, all sorts of different things that are in there. So everyone makes sure that all of that sort of stuff is prepared. Then the maintenance team have a big job of going around and making sure that the fragile areas are boarded up, and then they put tape on all of the windows and so forth. The grounds team will go around and look for any particular dangerous trees. So anything that looks like it might cause a problem, they'll try and. It's very difficult with trees because you just don't know.
Right.
My biggest concern was the big tree over the piano bar.
Yeah.
But of course, it's such an old tree, it's such a big tree that it was able to withstand anything that was thrown at it. And you look at the bigger trees on the beach, and they've lost a few branches here and there, but they're largely intact. So there's a lot of work goes on beforehand, and I guess 24 hours beforehand, we then start communicating with our guests to tell them what we're recommending, what's happening, what we want them to do during the storm, what we want them to do after the storm. and just keeping them up to date. And I think, we issued, I think it was probably 6 letters between myself and Camille, the hotel manager. We probably issued out 6 letters, just keeping people abreast of what was going on. And really our message was pretty consistent, and it was, the safest place for you to be is in your room. Because of the wind direction and because of the way the building is constructed, the safest place to be is your room. However, if you don't want to be in your room and you want to be with other people, then we designated 3 areas within the hotel that were sort of safe spaces. One was the gym, the other was Harry-san, and the other was Pastafari. And guests did use those areas. And we asked the entertainment team to go into those areas and just spend time with the guests, keep everybody entertained, make sure that people were relaxed, make sure that people were taken care of, and kind of make sure that people felt safe as much as anything. I think for me, the biggest priority was safety, and kind of making sure that people stayed in their rooms and stayed put. And we did have a few people walking around. I was a bit kind of, why are you walking around in the middle of the Category 4 hurricane? But for the larger part, people did do what we asked and stay where they should have been.
That was my question. How compliant were they? Because one of the coping mechanisms I've been through, being a Floridian mini hurricanes, and the anxiety and the stress level, you don't always make great decisions. So having the entertainment crew in there, I guess, with each other as a distraction probably helped a little bit on the compliance side, keep them calm.
And I think those people that were probably more anxious than others were happy to do that, and they went into those rooms and spent time with other people. Yeah. And actually we had a lot of people here from Florida, which of course they're all going, we're here, we know we've been through it, we know exactly what to do, if you need any help, just come and talk to us. Which was great, because having spent time with people who have been through it, they give great advice, which really did help actually. Certainly from my perspective, it kind of helped me calm down, make sure that I was calm, because it gets, in my role, if I'm not calm, then it can affect the way everybody else is. So, you need to make sure that you keep a level head, you use your managers that you have in the hotel, and you make sure that you spend time with the customers and trying to reassure them. So that's what we tried to do. And I think on this occasion it worked, and I think we did very well.
I would concur. So from my perspective, and to your point, you almost can't tell.
Yeah.
Outside of some stuff being gone, and there are some things that are gone. I mean, gone.
The jungle.
The jungle is pretty much gone. Chris's canopy that he that his wood carvings is gone.
The elephant.
It's gone.
Mango tree's gone.
Yeah.
There's a few things that have done that, but you're, correct me if I'm wrong, about 7 months into your role.
Yeah.
And you've been through a hurricane.
Yeah.
It's a proper indoctrination.
Oh, yeah.
So, dare I ask, what's next for you? What are your priorities moving forward? Let's talk about your role with your hedonism and what you see for this property and its role because as far as adult sexuality goes, you're probably, outside of maybe Playboy, the most recognizable brand in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I think Hedo my role really is to ensure that what is about Hedo stays as about Hedo, and we want to make small changes that make a difference to the guest experience, but not really change what Hedo is all about. For me, I guess Hedo is different things to different people. There are so many people that come here for different reasons. And there are a lot of people here, from what I've seen so far, a lot of it is very much a social aspect of meeting people that they've met over the years. You see all of the groups that come back time after time, and they're here to meet with friends that they met the last time that they were here. And of course, Hedo is a unique property, and there's an awful lot of stuff goes on at Hedo, and as I say, what happens at Hedo stays at Hedo. But, I guess, aside from that, it is really just, it's a real social experience. And then you have groups like the groups that are here this week are here, and they're going to party, and they're going to seriously party, and they're not going to stop till they drop.
We found out last night. Yeah, we found out last night. It was impressive.
And I stayed, and because I had no electricity or power at home, I stayed on site for 3 nights last week, and I don't think I got to sleep before 2 a.m. on any night because of the party that was going on.
You're welcome.
And that's what
we're here to help.
And that's what we're about. So I'm not going to complain about that, and that's what we're about. But it was interesting seeing it from that perspective.
It's hard to sleep with thumping bass in your pillow.
And of course, I was in a room on the prude side, but I was right next to the prude bar, and of course, on Monday night, that was where the after party was.
Yes.
So it felt like I was DJing with the DJ. It was interesting to hear.
Well, that's something else. You made mention of groups. Obviously, we run a group, Casual Swinger Week in April. March 29th through April 5th. Join us. But when we talk about groups, I think everybody has a lot of consternation about that as changes occur. What is your view overall of the group experience here at Hedo? Is it integral to what Hedo is? I mean, I know a lot of people really kind of identify their experience at Hedo through the group they come through. What in your experience over 7 months, what have you seen?
I think from a group's perspective, I think that the groups are fantastic in the sense that if you're a first timer looking for something to go to or a group to attend, then on our website you can see all the different groups that are there, and you can read about all the different groups that are there. You can make contact with the groups that are there, and you'll find a group that matches what you're looking for. And I think that is a real nice thing to do, because if people are wanting to get introduced to the lifestyle, they want to find a group that they're comfortable with, and they want to find people that they're comfortable with. They're not going to come to a group that doesn't kind of match their expectations or match their kind of experience today. So I think the groups work really well in that sense, and you have such different fluctuations in age groups that it's important that people do come on the right week, because if they turn up on the wrong week, they're going to not necessarily get the experience that they were expecting. So I think the groups work really well, and I think they always have worked really well for Hedo, so I don't see any reason why that they wouldn't continue in the same way that they are.
I think it's a beautiful thing.
And with Fluffs, who just left, they're probably one of the oldest groups that we've had, and they're still going strong, and that's Harry's group, and he was here with that group when he first started coming. And they've been going, I guess, I don't know how long, but they've been going an awful long time. And, they're still big numbers, so,
Yeah, we've actually interviewed John Gross, who is the founder of the Fluffs, on Casual Swinger. Question for you about your approach. So when I first met you, one of the first things I noticed is I met you on the nude side on the beach. Dressed like this, by the way, which I just don't know how you do it. But
you were in a button-up shirt and pants.
And you were walking the property, watching, taking note in your brain. I can see you just making a mental list of, okay, we need to fix that. We need to do this.
It does sound a little weird. We were watching you.
Yes, watching. Very creepy. Very creepy. I was naked watching you on the beach.
You found it very interesting.
That's Hedo,
You found it very interesting.
So tell us about your approach to management and what leads you to be that involved and that hands-on.
Yeah, so for me, that's always been my approach. Wherever I've worked is always about, you can't see what's going on from the four walls of this office. There's always time that I have to spend in here. There are things that I have to do in this office, but for me, I need to be out there seeing what's going on with the customers, see what's going on with the staff, and seeing what's happening around the property. You need to get that first-hand sight as to what's happening. And I think it's important to spend time talking to people, talking to the staff, talking to the customers, because that's the only way you ever find out. General manager in a hotel is sometimes quite a lonely position, because often you're the last person to find out sometimes what's going on. So the only way to overcome that is to spend time out there in the operation, spend time walking around the operation. And we have a beautiful place, so why not?
It's a beautiful place.
And I have some, our customers are very forthright, and they're very quick to tell you what is happening and tell you what they like, tell you what they don't like. And that's great, because that makes my life a lot easier, because I can work with that, because I know exactly what people are looking for. So for me, it's great to walk along the beach and have a conversation with a guest, and they tell me, we really like this aspect of what you're doing, we really like to see some changes in this aspect. And that's great. You can really work with that.
Do you get the same feedback from the staff?
Absolutely, yeah. The staff, I think with the staff it takes a little bit longer, because of course they need to get to know you, they need to get to know who you are. And we've got 500 staff here, so for me to start to get to know everyone's name takes a long time. But you do get to know the personalities, and you get to know who the ones that are going to chat to. And actually, I'm starting to see people kind of coming into the office and asking for a conversation, which is really nice. And as I walk around the resort, people will stop me and we'll have a chat. And then you've always got the personalities like Paulette at the bar, on the pool side. I always go down and have a conversation with Paulette. And equally, there are people in every department that are the personalities that if you go and have a chat with them, they're going to tell you what's going on. Are they going to have a question for you? They're going to ask your opinion on something, and that's great. You need that, and for me, I think we can't do this job, and I certainly can't do my job without every single member of that 500 strong crew. Because they make up this resort what it is. There's no one person more important than the other, in my view, and they have to work together as a team. And having a hurricane happen showed just how much that they are a team. I had Kama Sutra guys serving breakfast in the restaurant,
cleaning bathrooms,
and then they went into housekeeping, and they were like, "We had a great day. We were cleaning bathrooms." Wow.
We had a conversation with 2 members from the Kama Sutra Palace yesterday morning in regards to this. And they said they found this new perspective and respect for the different levels and facets that the other staff members go through. And they really, it was funny, they almost enjoyed it
They did.
It was a very hard work. And now I was watching them sort their utensils since they were helping to clean the dining room, and they understand what happens in the background. It was really endearing.
They really enjoyed it, and I
Yeah.
think they just, you know what they say, change is as good as a rest sometimes, and I think they really enjoy getting stuck. And believe me, they worked really hard because we didn't have that many food and beverage staff staying over in the hotel, so it was, you know, we had to pull on everybody. And at one point we were all in the dining room at lunchtime helping clear plates and tidy up, but it was nice to see, and you just know that when we come to have to do that again, which no doubt we will have to do it again at some point this year, that the team are there on hand to
Well,
to
and
get us through.
they rotate back to Romania tomorrow.
Yeah.
So this is their last experience
So
on their
well,
first
yeah.
rotation. You think you're coming back?
No, they're going to come back. They're very keen to be back.
They
They're like, no more hurricanes, no more toilets. We're massage therapists.
Yeah, they don't have them in Romania or Copenhagen.
That's fantastic. So a few months ago, one of the Garden View Nude Spa buildings caught fire.
Yeah.
6 rooms were pretty badly damaged, and you guys took it as an opportunity to renovate that building completely. Can you give us any kind of an idea of what to expect? Because this new building looks a little different. They built a facade going up almost like they're building a 3rd floor.
Yeah, I mean,
What's going on?
They've added some extra kind of bricks on the top to protect the services on the top of the building.
Okay, so it's for maintenance.
Yeah, it's for maintenance purposes to protect that part of the building, because as you can see, the roofs are quite exposed and they're very, very flat. So to put that on is just to protect the air conditioning units, the hot water pipes, all of the pipe work that's up there. So that's kind of an addition. And they've taken away all of the wood elements, so you'll see the wood stairwells on all of the parts of the building. That's now all concrete. So they've had to extend the kind of the canopy that covers all of that. So that's slightly bigger. The rooms are probably ever so slightly bigger. We kind of extended a little bit out to a certain degree, but not by a lot. We've moved the air conditioning unit is going above the window, which is as opposed to over the bed, which was a problem in a lot of the rooms.
Blows on the bed. It's cold as hell.
Yeah. So that's a change that we've made. Other than that, the rooms are just slightly different, and there's different sort of spec. The furniture that is coming is not kind of white furniture it's coming from China. That'll be here hopefully by the end of August.
Yeah.
It's not left China yet. That I'm aware.
They call it slow boat for a reason.
40 days apparently to get from China. The furniture looks great, and there's a headboard. Obviously, there's a new ceiling that's going in there that's going to have lighting in it, and they're going to be pretty good spec. And I think that's going to be the spec that we start to roll out across the whole of the hotel in terms of our standard accommodation. So that will roll out around the rest of the property as and when.
Fantastic. Do we have an estimated date of completion, or do you have like a target date or a target week?
Target date is the end of August, and we have to have them by 2nd week in September. So.
Because you're selling rooms past that date. Okay, that's why. All right. So, inflation in Jamaica is running rampant. It's wild, out of control.
Yeah.
But it's also wild in the United States over the last couple of years. How has that affected your approach to pricing your rooms? Because we have seen price increases across the board. Is that a driver for price increases because of your cost of goods going up?
I think you see all over the world since COVID that prices and stock markets and inflation has just been all over the place, and it's starting to calm down. And I think if you look at Jamaica's inflation rates, they're just starting to stabilize a little bit, and the target is between 4% and 6%, I believe, for Jamaica, and it's slightly different in other parts of the world. But yes, in essence, you look at the price of electricity, and you look at the price of water, and you look at all of those sorts of things. They're so much more expensive in the US. I couldn't believe that electricity is 10 times what I would pay in the UK for electricity. Wow. And water is about 8 times more than you would pay in the UK. So all of these things have to be factored in. And of course the government, quite rightly, have introduced the minimum wage within Jamaica now, which is fantastic for the team. So of course that all has an impact too. So of course we have to pass on some of those costs. Not all of the costs have been passed over, but we do have to pass over some of those costs. And the other thing is food costs around the world. Those have gone up tremendously in every country around the world, and in particular Jamaica, where we import such a high proportion of the food that we need to serve, and especially now that the hurricane has so drastically hit St. Elizabeth, then we're going to have to import so much more. So we're going to see price increases in terms of what we're paying for stuff coming down the line for the foreseeable future, and that's sadly not going to change.
Yeah. So in 7 months, do you have a favorite holiday at Hedo? Because holidays are a big deal here. You guys go all out. Like I had no idea. We came when our week was over Easter last year. I did not expect we would do anything for Easter at Hedo. Next thing I knew, there was a big ass party in the courtyard. Yeah. What's your favorite so far?
Well, so far I would say Super Bowl was my favorite so far.
Yeah.
That was really good. And then of course HSB was incredible. And then your week, Casual Swingers Week, that was a really good week. I thought the team and your team, we had a great time. You know, the guests were fantastic. And then I'm looking forward to Halloween.
Oh,
because Halloween is not big in the UK, but Halloween is very big in the US. But from what I hear about Hedo, it is something to see.
That's funny because we did Halloween last year for that reason. And just be prepared for the wild, creative.
It's Swinger Christmas.
I'm just looking forward to all the costumes. I'm looking forward to seeing the costumes because I've seen some of the photographs of years gone by.
Did you see the Mirror Man from last year?
Yeah, really cool. I don't know how the hell he got that here.
And we had an entire suitcase.
Yeah, I bet it did.
Yeah. It always amazes me how our guests throw themselves headlong into our themes, but then when you get something like Halloween, it's just a different level.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that, and I love how the guests just buy into it and they go for it.
Yeah.
They really do go wild. Well, first I'm going to thank you for making time for us. You are incredibly accessible as far as an executive goes in places like this, and not everybody is. You're also your candor is spot on, and you just tell like it is.
Yeah.
Which our listeners appreciate that. We've always had a very good relationship with Hedo, the management of Hedo, the ownership of Hedo. So we've always gotten to do stuff like this, and I appreciate that. And, hopefully my questions wouldn't strike it out of left. But
no, not at all. All good. Thank you very much.
But we'll stay in touch. We're going to be back with you here in the next couple of months, and I'm sure listeners will have questions. So
absolutely. We can do a follow-up.
We'll do this again. But this has been David Graham from Hedonism 2, and he's the general manager, and this is a kind of an update after Hurricane Hedo.
We're going to get some t-shirts made. I survived Hurricane Beryl.
Absolutely. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll be back in a bit. All right, guys, welcome back to Casual Swinger. I am still, last I checked, and I did, Mickey.
I'm still Mallory. It's weird. I feel like we should, now that we're recording this on video, do we still do that all the time? Because
they can look at us and say, yeah, I know you're Mickey.
I feel like the Ferris Bueller moment with my head wrapped in towel, like, you're still here? Like, you know who I am.
The fact that we podcast every 3 or 4 months now, I'm surprised anyone still listens.
That's true. Okay, to be fair, that's true.
But it's, I think they're busy too. You're just going to pet yourself and play with your hair the whole time.
It's gotten so long.
It has.
Like overnight almost.
It's like it just happened. It's like that was it the National Lampoons where they made the joke about Russ. I don't even hardly recognize you anymore.
Yeah.
Because Russ is a different actor.
Again, you're dating yourself.
I know. Fuck me. Anyway.
Under 35, I didn't get it either.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed the interview with David Graham. There was a lot in that interview.
Yeah.
And I hijacked him a little bit on it because one of the things we've been getting a lot of feedback on, specific to Casual Swinger Week, which is our week at Hedo, and no, this is not a big ad for Casual Swinger Week. But people have asked about the price because the prices in resorts, Desire and Hedo, have gone up fairly dramatically over the last 5 years. However, so is inflation in the United States, and so is inflation in Jamaica, so is inflation in Mexico.
Cost of goods, yeah. I mean, it's one of those, and man, at the end of the day, I can't tell you it's worth it for you, but I can tell you it's worth it for me on many levels.
Yeah.
For me, it's all about the experience, the feeling, the vibe, the value. Though, if you're counting dollar for dollar, like cent for cent. If you're into diving, for example, we just talked to or water sports, you can dive twice a day, every day that you're there.
No added charge.
That's a $400 per dive experience.
Yeah.
And if you amortize that over, and honestly, I know you can't drink a lot if you dive or drink at all. So maybe for you, it balances out because they do have top shelf liquor there too.
They do.
So
and the food's fantastic.
It balances out. They have, 4.
And all water sports
3 restaurants, 2 premium buffet nights, world-renowned chefs, world-renowned and awarded entertainment. Shit, their bartenders win awards.
They do.
They're the best establishment in Jamaica when it comes to the experience.
I would argue one of the best in the world if you take adult sexuality and their allowances.
Right, because at the
for
end of the
it.
day, are they lifestyle friendly? Yes. It's just a sexually positive environment and clothing optional resort. It's not a lifestyle resort.
That's a great point. You don't have to be a swinger to enjoy Hedo.
No.
Matter of
you
fact, it's not a
definitely
swingers resort at
don't.
all.
If that's your mentality, that's not it. Will there be people in the lifestyle swingers and alternative relationships there? Probably. It all depends on when you go, and that the group, the tribe, the vibe will change, intermittently depending on who is there. But the foundation of Hedo will always remain.
Yeah.
So the benefits, the value add just from booking with that resort, will you get your money's worth? Yes. And I think if it's on your list and you've been wondering, even if you don't go with us, I would love for you to, but you should. It should be on your list.
There are so many groups that we're friends with that lead great trips down there. The Fluffernutters that we mentioned already, iOS Connections, which is Dirty Perv Week. We'll be there with them in November, having the time of our lives because their parties are second to none.
Oh my God, there's like a dozen groups.
There's a dozen.
Whatever,
How about Rachel's Rebels? Our old friend Rachel. She throws a great party.
She's literally the week before
us. And the fact that we host
Scott and April with their
we
Be
host
Better
multiple
Being Bad
weeks a
Week.
year.
Yeah, that's a great example.
We host for Scott and April, and during Be Better Being Bad Week. And by the way, they're hosting for us during Casual Swinger Week. So
it is.
We're a bunch of whores.
We're getting to be incestuous,
Symbiotic
but not
whores.
in like the illegal sense.
Yeah, but think about it. So Kate is coming with us. Scott and April is coming with us.
It's gonna be so amazing.
And there's a few others that have not yet quite committed. One of which hosted for us last year. So as soon as they tell us they're in, we'll re-announce them again.
I'm gonna apply pressure.
Apply some. What kind of pressure are you going to apply there? I'm just okay.
Whatever.
But Be Better at Being Bad is a CrossFit / wellness week. The first couple weeks of January.
I think that it was. I think I call it a holistic week, because they touch everything. They touch on the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual aspect as well, which is what drew us to them in the first place.
That's true. They're smart.
They really hit. They have a lot of seminars, and would I call it a true lifestyle week? Maybe not, but are there a lot of lifestyle people there? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a sexual wellness experience.
Yeah. So if you go in with any Hedo experience, you go in with an open mind, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah. Well, we're there, and I guarantee you we're gonna die trying if you don't have it, because we do throw the parties for them in January, and then they come help us in April.
Yeah.
And Casual Swinger Week is kind of like a BBB light because we have sessions, but our parties are a little harder there.
Yeah, we take the sessions, the entertainment, and then we just add a little more party to the mix and a little more like. We love musing. We love creating a sexually charged environments for people to decide what they're like. Mad Libs. What is your story going to be? We're not going to write that for you.
Choose your own Hedo adventure.
There you go. Set the table. You decide what you're going to eat. Yeah. We're just going to set the table for you. You pick and choose.
What I can say unequivocally, hands down, is I continue to be impressed with not only the people of Jamaica, but the employees and the management of Hedonism too, their response to this natural disaster, and how they treat us as a community going forward. Their support for us, their partnership with us, their partnership with Casual Swinger. I can't say enough. And and that's really sad for you guys who are listening to my voice right now, but truly, I can't say enough. I'm proud to be associated with them. I'm proud to say that I have so many genuine friends, and that they and their families are safe.
Yeah. And how they've come together as a community. There's a lot to be learned from that. And I'm so grateful they're okay. I'm so grateful that they invite us into their spaces. And you're gonna get me emotional. Yeah. I can't do that right now.
You guys hear me say this all the time. We get to do this. I get to throw parties at the coolest, most notorious resort on the planet.
I read something somewhere about gratefulness coming from a perspective of opportunity versus circumstance. And I love that you say that. I've been meaning to tell you all day, and I'm glad this got caught on camera, that is a mental space that you go to, because you could say, oh, poor me, or, oh, the suffrage, or whatever complaint that you might have, but you look at that and go, oh, I'm going to use that as opportunity. And I love that about you.
Thank you.
So flowers.
Well, it's my response. Anytime one of you comes up to us and says, I see how hard you're working. You guys are running around like chickens with your head cut off. You guys never play.
They say that? Do we really look that bad?
I think we do look crazy after
God,
like
and
day
I'm
5.
over here like I'm like a duck, like cool on the fucking surface and paddling like hell underneath. They're like, no, we're looking from underneath. Like you look
like
crazy.
We look like Howard the Duck. Like not you, me.
All right, good. Because like I was like,
I said we.
I was all about that.
I was
you know,
about to get punched. Yeah, right. No blowjobs for Mickey tonight.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, no, I think that the resort itself did an amazing job. The people do an amazing job, but we get to do this. We get to throw these parties down there.
We're the luckiest sons of on the freaking planet.
And it is an experience like no other. Yeah. And again, it's the price. Incredible. Honestly, when you look at what you get, it's worth its weight in gold and then some. And honestly, I think they know it. That's why they keep raising the price. But you'll hear, did hear rather from David, there are economic considerations that go into it. Extreme,
because when you think about it's an island that in their available resources are so limited. So they're at the mercy of whatever the market has to share and what the going rates are.
That's right.
And that in and of itself is what it is.
Now, the employees of Hedo, despite their resilience, despite their positive outlook, despite their resilience, despite their positive outlook, still have challenges that haven't been addressed. As I said earlier, there will be a shortage of food in Jamaica because you can't climb a tree anymore to get some things. And it's not
like they make concrete blocks or
there's going to be some challenges.
Like they're very resourceful, but that only stretches so far as the resources allow. Right.
So if you remember back, for those of you that have listened longer than a couple of times, you remember we did a series of episodes called A Living History of Hedonism 2.
Oh, are we gonna...
And the very first episode we did was a blast from the past, from back when it was called Negril Beach Village. And his name is Howard Herenstein.
Yeah, this is an OG
of
the highest order. And I can't say that I know anyone more knowledgeable or dedicated to that establishment.
And I tell you what, he spaces out, doesn't care. Been going to Hedo for 40 years, and he's first one to say he does it. Now, this guy has organized a GoFundMe specifically to benefit the families of employees of Hedonism.
So this is not management. This is employees of
families
and staff
of staff members
and the families
affected by the hurricane. Their goal is to raise $50,000 to support these people. He has done it before. He did it during COVID. We donated a couple of days ago. If you're interested in donating, I'm going to put in the show notes, and I'm going to put it right here at the bottom of the video, a link.
Now, this is ordained by the management of the establishment. Triple check. This will be handed over to,
That's right. Mickey and Mallory say, we assure you this money's going to a good place.
Yes.
We know these people.
So,
we know who they are.
So
we know who they know.
If you feel like donating, or if you're going and would like to know something to bring, please message us.
Absolutely. And if you don't get around to messaging us, start with the easy stuff, right? We call them portable chargers, USB chargers. They call them walk-in charge.
Yep.
Those are battery operated or solar powered flashlights, batteries,
fans. It's hot as
it's hot as hell
down there.
Battery operated
mosquito
fans,
repellent wristbands.
Yes, mosquito repellent wristbands. All those things are so appreciated. So if you're taking a trip to Hedo in the next couple of weeks, or frankly, anytime this hurricane season,
batteries too.
Batteries, walk-in charge or USB battery packs, fans, battery-operated fans or USB rechargeable fans, USB rechargeable lights, emergency lights, also at a premium down there. None of these things are available on the island, guys. So bring them with you, pack up your luggages, and support them to the best of your ability. We would appreciate it very much because we love those people.
Check out the show notes or hit us up on Twitter. The link will be there as well. We'll pin it to Twitter.
So this has been Hurricane Hedo, and this episode felt like a hurricane because we were all over the fucking place when we were talking.
Yeah, I feel like we're a little disheveled, disorganized, but hey, welcome to the shit show.
Yeah.
To get a page and
you know what? Most of our shows are so structured though that I think people probably enjoy it when you and I just kind of right. We just go at it, and that's what we did. Just like that.
So sexy,
isn't it? Hey, I didn't lick my mic. Oh,
no, I'm not really going to do
it.
You
licked Kate's face at PCAP, though.
I really did, and I talked about it on her podcast. Check out Wanderlust Swingers for
the
recap where I actually licked her face.
And what's funny is the guy who you licked her face over,
He hit me up for
follows
content.
us on Instagram and hit you up for content on your Instagram. But he doesn't know that you licked her face to get his residual
That's a
spit
story
or
for
whatever
another
off
day.
of it. So
That's a story for another day.
you're kind of dirty.
Dear Penthouse, I never thought it would happen to me.
However, this is how I ate a fire eater. All right.
How I
Guys.
ate a fire eater. Anyway,
This
We're
has been a
losing it.
blast. Mallory, if you want to remind him, her,
Him?
the fire eater, if he's
You?
listening. That's right.
Hey.
You. She's talking to you. Him,
the bartender.
they, theirs, I don't know, whatever your pronouns
All right.
are. Tell them how to find us.
All
Let's
right.
get out of here so we can come back and do it
You're
again.
here already, so you can just check the show notes. But we're Casual Swinger everywhere. You can reach out at us, podcast at casualswinger.com. We're on Twitter /X, whatever you want to call it, new school, old school, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. You can also find us on the dating sites as STC, SLS, and Cassidy.
There you go, folks. This has been Hurricane Hedo. Thanks for hanging in there with us. And at this rate, we'll see you again in 3 months. But I promise you, we're going to try really hard to not make it that
And
long.
do our best.
All right. Maybe I'll get this edited and get it out before 3 months is up. It's been a blast. You've been listening to and watching Casual Swinger.
Good to see you.
Good to be seen.